we had a young mom and husband and 2 kids doing life like all of us experience life, and the father was killed in a car accident suddenly. He was the breadwinner. Mom had a job, but she wasn't providing all the income. So immediately, that tragedy not only was grief struck with that family, but they were not able to survive at that point. And so Mom wasn't able to provide any food for her family because most of her income was just trying to keep the roof over the head and the utility bills. So for Nancy to come in and to just be loved where she was and to be helped through the process, because a lot of times in survival mode, you're focusing all of your time on surviving for today or maybe a little bit for tomorrow. Yeah. And you're not really saying, okay, how do I help get out of the situation? What do I need to be focusing on? And Nancy had a heart to really change, but she really was focused on survival mode. And as Nancy came through the care center, she was able to say, you know what, the job I have is not going to do it. And she went back to become a nurse. And she actually graduated with honors from her nursing program. And she's a nurse at one of the local hospitals here. And she was, another thing that happened with Nancy is when we were turning families away one week, and she said, you know what, and she was one of the families being turned away. And she said, I'm going to be here, so what can I do? And she stepped up and said, I'm going to volunteer. And that opened our eyes to say, you know what, we need to ask our friends, are you able to help us and volunteer? And so we have over 100 of our friends who are also volunteers every week.
Wow.
And so something changed in Nancy. Not only did she see the value in what we were providing, but she also saw that she could provide a value too.
Welcome to the Radio Theology Podcast with Pastor Darren Earlywine, where you'll hear inspiring stories of people just like you, living out who they were born to be. Here's Pastor Darren.
Welcome back to another episode of the Born to Be interview. It's part of the Radio Theology Podcast. Pastor Darren Earlywine here with you as your host. Very excited. We have another of our ActivateIndy.com interviews that we're releasing here with Marcus Casteel from the Grace Care Center. Grace Care Center is doing amazing work in our city to fill our city up with so much more faith, hope, and love. I know you're going to be inspired by the stories that are going to be shared by Marcus's journey, and it's just great to have another one of our ActivateIndy.com partners. Marcus, welcome to the podcast.
Yeah, thanks, Darren. Thanks for having me.
Marcus, give us a quick overview for somebody who may not know of what is the Grace Care Center?
Yeah, the Care Center is a place that was designed to reach our local community and to love on them and care for them. And we have 4 main services that make up the Grace Care Center: the Choice Food Pantry, our vehicle services, referral services, and English as a second language.
Now, you were part of helping launch and actually start the Care Center, correct?
Yeah, back in 2011, we did research to find out what type of services are needed in our community, and then we launched in July of 2012. So this month, we just celebrated 7 years.
Wow, 7 years. That's beautiful. You know, Marcus, Grace is a large megachurch on the north side of Indy. A lot of times megachurches can get a bad rap. People say, oh, you guys screw up the parking, and there's, so much traffic, and you spend so much money on this and that. You can hear the bad rap sometimes that large churches get. One thing I love that you guys did with the Grace Care Center is that you did extensive research to make sure that the Care Center was truly meeting the felt and real needs of your community. Can you unpack that for us real quick?
Yeah, we took a year, and we actually interviewed all the different social service organizations there in Hamilton County, the ones that were actually doing all the work. And we asked them what was working, what was missing, what worked well, what the need they were seeing. They were having a hard time keeping up with the need. And so what was that need? And also we asked them if they had $1 million, what would they start doing? What program would they start doing? And what program should other people start doing? And we took all of that data and research, and we basically were able to find the gaps in the services that were being needed by people who were there in the community, and as well as the different social service organizations, the great work that they were doing, and things that needed to change. And so we took that research and we created the Grace Care Center to accomplish that.
And Marcus, you guys actually walked like hand in hand, like with some families to help really diagnose exactly what they needed. Talk about that process of really walking with some families through the process.
Yes, not only did we interview the social service organizations, but we also walked with 6 families that came to us in need, and we asked them, would you be willing to help us learn from you and find out what really is needed as we build this care center? So for 5 to 6 months, we walked with them and helped them and just worked with them just to learn, and that's kind of been our posture the whole time. So every year we actually do survey those friends that are coming to us, still to find out what's working, what's not working, how can we improve, and what are things that maybe we're not thinking about. And so we've kind of had a learning posture as we go.
What was one of the things that surprised you guys the most in that process as you walk with those families, Marcus?
Yeah, I think the main thing, families were coming to us in financial need. But the one thing that kind of was surprising but shouldn't have been was the amount of vehicle need. Obviously, when you're in a suburb, you really rely on your vehicle. And if your vehicle goes down, it'll have a ripple effect on every area of your life, not only potentially losing your job, but just even be able to get around. And so Hamilton County is one of the richest or wealthiest counties in the United States. And I think what we found out was how much need was actually in that county really surprised us. And just so the amount of need was probably the most eye-opening. And I think it's the unknown and the unseen families that are there in Hamilton County that really need some help.
You know, Marcus, what I'd like to jump into a little bit is a little more of your journey and your story, because with all of our ActivateND.com partners, it's great to highlight what you guys are doing organizationally as a mission, but I think it's key because we really want to inspire people to serve, to get involved, and to link arms with you guys and the other partners and make a difference. And so I think it's key that we not that we just know about your mission, but we know about the why that you're drawn to it, the why you were drawn to launch it. So I guess jump into your story a little bit. Is were there kind of seeds of this passion planted by God in your life as a kid, or how were you drawn to this kind of ministry?
Yeah, and I would think I became more aware of it in a different order. So really, when I went on my first mission trip after becoming a believer down to Mississippi, I was really blown away that one of the United States, right here in the United States, that the poverty was so bad that it kind of matched a lot of third world countries. We had kids who had no shoes. There was kids who were not going to school, kids who were starving, and just to see that right here in our own country was a little eye-opening. So I served and went on that mission trip for 8 different trips, and then really we took high school kids with us and really watched high school kids really have their eyes open, coming from Hamilton County and going down into Mississippi and having their eyes open to see what was maybe what the world really looked like more than just their backyard. Yeah. And so that little seed kind of was planted inside me, and we did mission trips all over the world, but there was something stirring inside about how about our own backyard? Is there a need right here in our own backyard, more than just trying to bring people into the church to then mobilize them and go out to other partners and across the entire world to serve? What about mobilizing them to serve in our own backyard? Yeah. And I think as the care center, the research was happening, and as we started the care center, I think memories of my childhood kind of came back to where I lived in a blended family. I came from a divorced family, and one family unit was probably classified as middle class, and one family unit was probably lower class. And even though most kids probably don't realize what class they're in, there was something I knew was a little different from depending on which week or which weekend I went to which house. Because in one house we were just struggling to make ends meet, and the other one life was pretty easy. And so those things kind of just played in the back of my mind. And I think as we opened the care center, I could relate to a lot of families coming to us because the care center, we're really serving the working poor. The majority of who we serve is the working poor. It's the families out there trying to make ends meet, but they just need a little more help to be able to get by. And so I could relate to that because both families, situations I grew up in, both were working, and I could tell, and identify with the struggles that those families had. So that's kind of part of what God was stirring inside of me, is being able to mobilize people to take care of the need in our own backyard. And early on in 2012, 2013, I just had this desire to end hunger in our community and to be able to alleviate all of that. And I knew that the only way to do it was really to mobilize the church to take care of their own community in a way to where we could get rid of hunger, because there's a lot of problems that all of us, deal with, just in our lives. Sure. And so if we could at least get the hunger part taken care of, it allows the families to focus on all the other issues that normal families would actually deal with. Absolutely. So, I mean, that's the way that it impacted your story, and I really see the way that God kind of invited you in to be a part of the solution. What are some ways you've seen, I love that Grace, as a church has embraced this, and then, you guys have an expansion that you're doing right now, and so, the church has gotten behind this as an effort. But
What ways have you seen this through the years? Because it's been open now, you said, for 7 or 8 years.
7 years this month. Yep.
7 years. So what ways have you seen it impact the life of the church community?
Yeah, I think when we first opened, we were so focused on the friends coming to us in need. And something happened about a year into it because we couldn't keep up with the need. And I remember we talked, what's more important, the families coming to us or the volunteers serving? And we took a bold step and said, you know what, let's focus on the volunteers who are coming to us as well as the experience that both the volunteer and the friend has. You know, in most organizations, just like we did in that first year, we focused on the services. We focused on the friend coming to us and trying to serve as many and that we could. And we made a change to say, let's focus on the experience that the volunteer has when they come in and serve, as well as the experience that our friend has when they come to get the services. And we stumbled upon that. But I think that was the life-changing aspect of the care center. Volunteers were coming, whether they were a part of the church, whether they were just a part of the community or a part of another church, they were coming in serving and experiencing something that just drew them back week after week. And we got to a point where they could not be there. And so that grew our volunteer base. We have over 3,000 volunteers that serve anytime throughout the year.
Wow.
It takes 350 volunteers every week to pull off the care center. And so we have a massive volunteer base that really, really helps pull off the care center each and every week. And by then having a lot of volunteers, we are able to focus on the experience that our friend has. Now, the services that they need are still important, but they're still going to get food and they're going to get their car repaired and learn English and move to a place of sustainability. But how they experience all that is more important. Yeah. And so we really care about the individual right there in front of us, even for our friends, that they walk out and say, okay, why was that different? Why is that church doing what they're doing? And so that was very important to us to focus on the experience side of things.
Do you think that's something that's unique about the Grace Care Center?
I do. We have served other places, and we have a lot of places that will come and actually get tours and try to learn more about the care center. And that's our thing that we try to challenge people, not to, have a choice pantry, not to do points or how to do the operational side, but really to challenge them to focus on the volunteer who's right there and focus on the friend. Because the rest of it, if you focus on the service side, you will miss that life change that can happen. If you focus on the life change, you're going to get the service along with it. But you're going to change not only the friend's life, but you're going to change the volunteer life too. And we believe that's the secret.
On the volunteer side, because I know so much of what we want to see happen this year with ActivateIndy.com is to get people mobilizing and involved serving. And so is this something that is just for adults? Can families serve together? What does that process look like, Marcus?
Yeah, for our primary volunteer is an adult, 12 and above, but we do have family-friendly activities for 6 and above. We wanted to get that younger generation in there. I didn't get to experience that as a kid, and so I really love that the kids are coming in. We have high school kids as well as the younger family kids will come in and experience something that I believe will change their life forever. And they will, when they take over this country and they run this country, they're going to take those experiences they had as a kid that I didn't actually have until I was an adult. So we love the fact that there are kids there and families serving together and adding this as a priority in their life. It's not just the sports, it's not just academics, even though those are important, but for a family to focus on serving is important as a family. I think that's a wonderful thing that'll change our communities.
Absolutely, absolutely. Let me hit him with some stats real quick, Marcus. You sent these over, and I thought this was just crazy. Over the past 7 years, food and non-food items given away through the Choice Pantry is that $6.9 million?
Yeah, just barely under $7 million. So we have about 10,000 items going out every week out of our store.
Wow.
10,000 items.
Volunteer hours served close to just under 300,000 hours of volunteer service.
Yeah. That's amazing.
It really is. And I love this. It says meetings with families and referral services. There are over 3,000 meetings there. What happens there?
Yeah, referral services where those families who have been coming to the pantry, but they say, you know what, I need more help, or I'm ready to put some work in. I'm done living in the lifestyle I'm in right now. And so we will actually sit down with those families one-on-one, and the same team of volunteers meets with the same family, and they go through our co-op, and we're trying to help our families self-identify what's going on in their family that they need to change and they want to change. And we help them slowly move to a place of sustainability to when they graduate out of the co-op, they have no need for the care center any longer. In the last 3 years, we've graduated 74 families out of that program.
Wow.
And even the families from 2016 still today, 3 years later, still don't have a need to use the care center.
That's
and
awesome.
so we'd love to have those numbers higher, but for those 74 families, it is life-changing for them.
Absolutely. Can you break down a story maybe that pops into your brain about one of those families and ways that it's inspired you to watch them grow and be transformed in that way?
Yeah, two different ones. I mean, we have situational and generational poverty, both. And so I want a situational one. We had a young mom and husband and 2 kids doing life like all of us experience life, and the father was killed in a car accident suddenly. He was the breadwinner. Mom had a job, but she wasn't providing all the income. So immediately, that tragedy, not only was grief struck with that family, but they were not able to survive at that point. And so Mom wasn't able to provide any food for her family because most of her income was just trying to keep the roof over the head and the utility bills. So for Nancy to come in and to just be loved where she was and to be helped through the process, because a lot of times in survival mode, you're focusing all of your time on surviving for today or maybe a little bit for tomorrow.
Yeah.
And you're not really saying, okay, how do I help get out of the situation? What do I need to be focusing on? And Nancy had a heart to really change, but she really was focused on survival mode. And as Nancy came through the care center, she was able to say, you know what, the job I have is not going to do it. And she went back to become a nurse. And she actually graduated with honors from her nursing program. And she's a nurse at one of the local hospitals here. And she was, another thing that happened with Nancy is when we were turning families away one week, and she said, you know what, and she was one of the families being turned away, and she said, I'm going to be here, so what can I do? And she stepped up and said, I'm going to volunteer. And that opened our eyes to say, you know what, we need to ask our friends, are you able to help us and volunteer? And so we have over 100 of our friends who are also volunteers every week.
Wow.
And so something changed in Nancy. Not only did she see the value in what we were providing, but she also saw that she could provide a value too. And so that was something more of a generational or situational poverty. We have some families that are just dealing with the generational poverty, which this is how they grew up. You know, their family used a food pantry, and so this is all they know. And we have a family who basically just thought, this is how my life is going to be. And so by just being encouraged by the volunteers and to be working on a plan, she realized, you know what, I'm actually more valuable than this, and I actually can change. And for her just to be challenged to say, you can do so much more with your life, and to have somebody to believe in her, she was able to actually move to a place of sustainability where she changed the generations to come for her family to see that you can actually get yourself out of the situation that you're in.
Wow, I love it, Marcus. Talk a little bit about the expansion that's happening right now, as it's exciting in one side that you guys are expanding to meet the need and invest the resources in that way. It's not exciting that the need is expanding with it. But talk about the expansion that's happening right now.
Yeah, for probably about the last 3 years, we have been turning away families, averaging about 40 families every week.
Wow.
That we have not been able to serve. We can serve 600, but we just can't get everybody through in the same amount of time because the space is constraining. And so we started to raise support and start dreaming about what God was doing for the future of the care center. And currently we've raised all the support and we've broke ground to actually expand the care center. And the Choice Pantry will be twice the size it is right now. And so we can actually get up to 1,200 families through in a week, where right now we're limited about 600 families. So not only will our goal is to be able to serve every family that comes to us, and to not be turning them away. That way we can, because we're all about the experience, and we really don't like the fact that some families, their experience is we're not able to help you this week. Yeah. And so we want to be able to expand and be able to meet the need that's coming to us.
That's phenomenal. So what does it look like? Somebody listens to this podcast, maybe they've even served with one of the other ActivateIndy.com partners. You know what? I want to I live up maybe close to Grace. I want to get involved in what the care center is doing. What's that process look like?
Yeah, there's 2 ways to do it. We'd love for you to go online, whether that's through the Activate Indy website or whether it's just directly at gracechurch.us /care center. You can sign up to become a volunteer. You can see all the different volunteer opportunities there. We have 4 different shifts throughout the week that we need volunteers, but then we also have volunteer opportunities on every day, whether it's rescuing food and bringing food up to us, things that your family can do together outside of when the care center is actually open. And so they can go onto our website. They can look at all the different volunteer opportunities. The other thing they do is they can show up at 5:30 on Monday and Tuesday or at 9:30 on Wednesday, and we'll get them plugged in. We do not have a training session because we're about the experience that volunteer has, and so you will actually shadow somebody, And whenever you're ready, you can kind of branch out and do your own volunteering thing. But we just kind of have a hands-on approach to training, and you'll just shadow somebody until you're ready to go on your own.
I love it, Marcus. So give me the website again. It's gracechurch.us.
Yes, /care center.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you said there are opportunities for kids as young as 6 and then all the way up, obviously, through adulthood.
Yeah, the families who have kids 6 to 11, we have family-friendly activities in the back of the warehouse that they can do together as a family and serve together. For those 12 and above, parents can drop their kids off, and we'll put them to work, as well as they can come and serve in the front of the house as well. Yeah.
I love it, Marcus. I love that your passion for it. I love the stories of transformation, and to see a church with the notoriety and the size of Grace. Really, I'm so inspired by the research and just the care you guys put into saying, how do we serve our community best? Not let's just try to figure out some way to meet a need, but let's do this in a way that meets the need, but also honors the journey and the story of the friends that God brings you guys for you to serve. And I think that's what the church is about, and I love that's what Grace Care Center is doing. And I love it. I love that we're able to partner with you guys and shine a little light on what's going on. And if you want to get involved, go check it out at activateindy.com. You can also go to gracechurch.us/care center. Mm-hmm. And Marcus, I'm sure if they're there, they'll get to meet you.
That's right. I'm there. I'd love to meet them.
Awesome.
So thanks.
Thanks so much, Marcus, for being with us. I appreciate it. And thanks for listening to this episode of the Born to Be podcast as a part of the activateindy.com movement.
Thanks so much for listening to this episode of the Radio Theology Podcast. We'd love for you to subscribe, leave us a review, and share this episode with a friend. Talk to you next time, but until then, don't forget, God is for you, not against you. He is near to you, not far away from you, and He has created you on purpose and for a purpose. Have a great day.